Hello and welcome everybody to C's Got Degrees. We are a group of recent college grads, plus some incoming college seniors, exploring what it means to be a college graduate. Today we've got myself, we've got Mark, we've got new host David, and we've got Ryan.
Howdy.
Hello.
What is up?
I'm Mark, by the way. In case you couldn't distinguish our voices, I'm the high, nasally, annoying one. Pleasure to be back for the third episode of C's Got Degrees.
This is just the boys today.
All
Great show, by the way.
Yeah, this is the lads. Yeah, the boys is really good. If you want to take a quick detour to the boys, was not expecting how shall I say penile expansion.
Yeah.
Warning. We should probably put out just like a spoiler warning for probably this whole episode.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about stuff
because we're gonna be talking about a lot of stuff. So if you hear like the name of the show that you want to watch, we're probably gonna spoil it. So
I think it's safe to say that 90% of these have these.
I have the exact same water bottle, Mark. The one you have in your background right there. It's literally to the left of me. I'm drinking out of it right now.
For everyone at home, because Robin said I can't say audio listeners anymore, it is a pale blue Nalgene water bottle that I found at my old job, washed it, and I've been drinking out of it ever since.
This was my brother's girlfriend's cup, and she left it here, and they live in Boston now, so it's mine.
Oh, so it's been inherited.
Yeah, it's an heirloom.
My mom,
as we say in the business, hydrate or dihydrate.
Hydrate or dihydrate. My mom.
Oh no, I'm still here for all the Chicago slander.
I don't have an educated guess.
Call. Do you want to answer it on the show?
Sure.
It's gone.
Okay. They gave up.
Missed opportunity.
Never mind.
Anytime I end up getting those spam calls, I answer them in German. So that way they decide not to call me back.
My favorite is welcome to Joe's Roadkill Emporium. You kill him, we grill him. How can I be of assistance today?
That's good.
Good one. Google has I have a Pixel 6 and they have a auto screening thing where a robot.
Bro, I'm still on a Pixel 3. What the heck?
But yeah, they have this feature where when instead of answering the phone, you can have an AI answer it for you and it'll tell you everything they say.
Yes.
And the robots get confused talking to each other and it's absolutely hilarious.
I work at a David's Bridal. That's where I currently have my place of employment, and I have to call people just to let them know about their items and their appointments and stuff like that. And every so often, apparently US Cellular does this thing now where it doesn't have a voicemail. A robot will just pick up the phone and be like, "Hey, who are you?" And I'm just like, "I'm David calling from David's Bridal," and they're like, "How urgent is this call?"
Me, David from Me, David's Bridal.
Oh yeah, it's me, dude.
It's all him.
I'm a time traveler because I was alive in the 70s or 80s when David's Bridal first opened, and I'm 23 years old. Or I'm Benjamin Button.
It's just a backwards type shit.
Yeah.
Are you yourself?
Benjamin Button, by the way, the probably the worst David Fincher movie. I don't know if it's the worst, but I'm not a big fan of it.
I've never seen it, but my mom was watching it when I was a kid, and I came downstairs and saw the wrinkly old baby, and it scared me, and I just have no interest.
Within the first 30 seconds of that movie, somebody steps on a wrinkly old baby by accident. So it's got a pretty solid intro.
Jesus, it sounds like it just kicks right into the action.
Yeah, it's one of those movies kind of like Forrest Gump, where it doesn't make a whole lot of sense because it's this person's living such an incredible life. One person wouldn't be able to do all these things. He serves in World War II and does all this different shit. It's I don't know. It's one of those movies where they're kind of trying to just show you the breadth of the 20th century. They're like, hey, all this stuff happened in the 20th century, and we're gonna follow this one person as he lives a life. And also, he literally turns back into a baby. It's not metaphorical. He literally returns. He returns to infant mode, and then dies.
Baby mode activated.
Yeah,
that's truly a boss baby.
That's yeah.
But before we spiral too far into talking about movies and stuff, because that is on the docket today. David, you've not been on the podcast before, so
first time.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about what you've been doing post graduation? Since that is kind of like the whole point of this podcast or whatever.
At least the jumping off point, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We all graduated almost exactly a month ago, a little bit over a month now, a couple days over a month. Actually, like a week over a month. Sorry, time flies. But when we have all graduated, and unfortunately, the way that like the entertainment industry works and the way they hire people, it's just really hard to find work. Like in general, like but I've been throwing my hat in the ring. Tyler Perry is actually hiring at his giant fucking production compound in Atlanta, Georgia. Oh. And I was looking into that, and I was like, hey, that man's a literal billionaire, so he could spread the wealth.
He's slaying some cash this way.
Yeah, so I was looking into that, and then there's like there's different ones. I think, unfortunately, probably to the detriment of my own career path in life, I'm trying to hold out on getting some like middle ground job. I kind of want to go straight into a job that is actually going to be what I want to do. I'm not expecting to get like a 6-figure salary right out the gate job, but I would like to work for a production company and like just, actually be in the industry. And I don't really want to half measure it, but unfortunately, because I don't want to half measure it, it means there's just not a lot of opportunity. It's a lot thinner, the choices out there.
Is there like a specific kind of production? As sports comm, I'm not well versed in production. Yep. Is there a specific kind of production you like?
Well, I definitely want to do creative film and television. Television at this point in 2022 is almost indistinguishable from movies. TV shows are just long movies now, especially with streaming services and stuff like that. So I want to work in creative production is the way I put it. I want to make creative projects. So I don't have a super huge interest in like television news. I think it's cool. I think it's a fun environment, and it's definitely probably the easiest job to get because every fucking city has a local news station, or at least every moderately sized city has a local news station. So there's a lot of work, but it's not my career path. I'm not like unwilling to do it for a couple of years, just as like hey, there's literally nothing else to do. I need a job and I need to get some like resumes and some cash in my pocket. I'm not saying that I'm never going to do it, but it's something I would rather avoid doing because I kind of feel like it's spinning your wheels a little bit, where it's like,
you can get stuck in it.
Yeah, because it's its own thing. Like you don't climb up the ladder of news and then eventually become a film director. Like that doesn't work.
Yeah.
You might one day have enough clout in the industry that you could make some kind of jump to a different industry, but
after like 20 years of work.
Yeah, after a long time. And you definitely can't stay local.
The skills are like comparable but also not comparable at all.
Well, one is like quick and dirty, and the other one is slow and meticulous. Like news is quick and dirty, man. News starts at 5 p.m. If it's not done by 5, it's not on the air. So everything has to just be done, and they're doing it. But with movies, obviously there are deadlines for movies, but for movies, it's more of a creative project. There's more passion in it, at least in that way, and it's also just what I've always wanted to do.
And I think like the only like quick and dirty TV that's left is like SNL.
Yeah, like sketch comedy. Yeah, live sketch comedy.
That's the only like live program.
Or sports com.
South Park.
Yeah, or sports. But like, I was just thinking of like what else is live.
Yeah, Ryan did say
South Park was doing it week by week for years.
I don't know if they do that anymore.
No, they stopped doing it, but they did it well into like 2012, 2013 when like they easily could have done it on a laptop on a plane, but like they wanted to do it like every week, like a real live show.
It's back when Bill Hader was still one of the lead writers on the show, which was back when the show was funny.
I always forget he was like one of the lead writers on the show.
Yeah, ground up. He was there since 2005 or whenever the show started. He was there in the beginning.
The show started in like the mid 90s. Like,
oh yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, no.
It's.
I think he came in like 2000, 2001. I think there was a couple seasons that he wasn't there for, but I'm pretty sure like Matt and Trey Parker pretty much like soloed South Park for a while.
Yeah, it's also like some of the worst like episodes of the entire show.
Oh, yeah. The pilot episode of South Park, have you ever seen it? It sucks.
I can't make like every time I go to watch South Park, I always start at like season 4 or 5.
Yeah. It's one of those shows that it's kind of like recommending Star Trek to a person. It's like, okay, if you're gonna watch Star Trek, don't watch season 1 of any of the shows because none of the Star Trek shows start off good. They get their stride later on, but most of the shows, season 1 is just like, who are these characters? What are their personality types? I don't know. Who cares? And then they finally figure it out, and they're like, "Oh, these characters are complicated and have interpersonal dynamics," which is what Gene Roddenberry didn't want, which is so funny. Gene Roddenberry thought his vision of the future was that no one had interpersonal conflicts, like humans were at perfect peace with each other.
So they're just like a zen.
That's boring TV then.
Yes, exactly. It is horribly boring TV, but when he was making Star Trek, the original show in the 60s, he was like, no two human characters can have a disagreement.
That's like the cutaway gag in Video Game High School, where it's like the ESPN We All Agree corner, where it's like, I absolutely agree with you, Tom. Well said, Pete. It's like arguing, just agreeing with each other.
But then Gene Roddenberry got excommunicated from Star Trek, and other people took over. And they did a lot better job for a while, and then it got worse, and now it's terrible. Modern Star Trek is, like, very bad.
Isn't the Family Guy guy doing a Star Trek, like, canon
the Orville
show?
Yeah, the Orville. It's not canon Star Trek, but it is. It's the Orville.
I thought Orville was, like, a spoof. I thought they were making fun of Star Trek.
No, which is why it got canceled, because season 1 and season 2 is on Fox, because Seth MacFarlane's a Fox guy, and then it got canceled after season 2 because everyone was like, "Why is this show not funny?" Because Seth MacFarlane, Family Guy, they thought it was supposed to be funny, and then Seth MacFarlane was like, "No, I'm making a serious sci-fi show. I want it to be like real." So they canceled it, but ironically, Hulu, which is a subsidiary of Fox and Disney, it's now on Hulu. So season 3, they're back, baby. But yeah, Orville's actually pretty good. If you like Star Trek, it's just Star Trek. It's just Star Trek: The Next Generation, but with Seth MacFarlane as the captain, which is very egotistical. But Seth MacFarlane's kind of an egomaniac.
Yeah, it's Seth MacFarlane. He voices like half the characters on Family Guy.
Yeah, more than half. He's
look into his show.
Yeah, look into American Dad too. I didn't realize that he's Stan, he's Roger, he's like most of the voices in American Dad also.
I watched an interview with him recently where he talked about American Dad, and he made American Dad because Family Guy had just got canceled. And he didn't like expect it to be brought back by Adult Swim, so he for years, for like 2 or 3 seasons, would literally go from like the Family Guy offices over to the American Dad offices and would work on both shows at once. And after a while, he was like, "Yeah, I can't do this." And
the most interesting thing I think I heard him say is that like he has not been an active writer or creative person in American Dad or Family Guy since like 2012.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a producer, and he just does voices. He doesn't write any of the scripts. He doesn't care. He literally says that he just goes in for the vocal recordings and does the lines and then moves on.
Damn.
I feel like when you are like, I think that's like a blessing and a curse, right? Because like you think of like Bob's Burgers or like Rick and Morty, where like one person does all the voices again. And then you just get so busy, and then you kind of have to throw all of your creativeness out the window.
Yeah.
But I mean, Seth MacFarlane, he's doing pretty well.
I mean,
I don't think he minds anymore.
He's a rich man.
Yeah.
he seems kind of like, I feel like he's a better person in real life than he is like as he appears in interviews and stuff, because he always appears kind of cocky and like super like laid back, and he's just like, "Ha, I'm Seth MacFarlane. I'm talented and rich." But
Yeah.
I get the feeling that he's probably pretty normal in real life. He seems like an okay guy. I just know that he's one of those people that just forced himself to be a leading man, because he made Ted, and he made like A Million Ways to Die in the West, and he put himself as like the main character in both of those movies, and like he's not a leading man. I mean, he just really isn't.
I mean, it kind of worked in Ted because he could hide behind his voice, but yeah, A Million Ways to Die in the West. I saw that movie in theaters, and I was like one of 4 people that was in the theater, and 2 of them left.
No, that movie is like unbearably unfunny.
Yeah, it's miserable.
Morbius, sweet baby. I don't know.
Like
the 4 people in the theater just reminded me of Morbius.
I didn't see Morbius. I'm gonna be honest, and I don't think I ever will. I don't think I'm ever going to see it. I don't think I care.
Somebody sent a pirated link. Oh, sorry, Ryan. Go ahead.
Oh, I might watch it for the meme when it comes out on streaming, but I had no interest in actually paying for it.
I think Jared Leto is once again, he's one of those guys that like is supremely talented as an actor, but also like way overvalues who he thinks he is. Like he thinks he's Brad Pitt, man. He walks into movie sets and he like forces people to do shit for him and like acts like a weirdo. And I'm like, Jared Leto, you're like a supporting actor. Every famous movie you've ever been in, you're a supporting actor. You were a supporting actor in Fight Club. You were a supporting actor in American Psycho. You're not the leading man.
I saw some it was a tweet of somebody's Letterboxd account where all of their reviews are just movies that Jared Leto gets like hurt or killed in, and he was like, the rating of the movie was based on like how graphically Jared Leto was maimed and or killed. And I just thought that was funny.
He's died in a lot of movies. A lot of his movies he dies in.
He's also very creepy with like female interviewers. If you've ever seen
well, he's one of those people.
Almost like Diesel.
Yes, he's constantly hitting on people. I think that comes just from being a handsome person. He's an attractive guy in general. It comes from being an attractive person who's been famous their whole life.
Yeah,
like he's been famous his whole life. So I don't think he knows what normal people are like.
No, he has a cult. That says
his cult on his island, and they all dress like in white robes, and I'm like, Jesus, don't drink the Kool-Aid there.
And they sell shirts that are like, yes, this is a cult, to like wink and be self-aware about it, but like that doesn't change the fact that it's still a cult. Like you're still doing cult-like behavior. Just because you're self-aware that other people are calling you a cult doesn't change the fact that you're in a goddamn cult.
They're like, haha, you're so right, we are a cult, but anyway, give me your money though.
Which is, not good.
Yeah, live on my island. See, here's the thing: rich people and owning islands. Ever since Jeffrey Epstein, may he rest in peace. Rich people need to not be owning islands. You know what I'm saying?
All right, and let's change that topic. So, what was the last movie that you guys saw, huh?
I don't know. What was the last movie I saw?
I think the last notable movie I saw was Creep on Netflix.
The original one?
Yeah, I'm a big horror fan, but I'd never seen it, and it is the first movie in a very long time to like actually make me like scared. Like, not to give the movie away, but like it has a very specific turning point, and once I hit that turning point, I was like frozen in my bed, just like, oh shit, and like I didn't move until the credits rolled. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And it's very clearly like I wouldn't call it a parody, but it's self-aware of the fact that it's like a found footage movie, and they're kind of like playing with that idea.
Yeah, I think they play with the format really well, because like I don't know if you guys have seen it, Mark or Joe, but the concept is this guy puts out an ad on Craigslist for videographers to film him for a day for footage for his son because he's dying of cancer. but it's a horror movie, so that's a lie. And then I think you can imagine how it goes downhill from there. But it takes a lot of wild turns that like it's as much as predictable as it may seem in like the first half. You once it hits that turning point, you can't predict what's gonna happen. It's so place.
I think also that actor, I don't know what his name is, the leading guy in Creep.
Mark Duplass.
Yes, I think he was like a good casting because he's like a red herring because he's a comedy actor. So like when you first watch the movie, you're like, oh, I know that guy.
Speaking of, I watched this like video essay about Knives Out that was like why the casting like in particular is so brilliant, because spoiler alert for Knives Out. Sorry, skip ahead to this time code, editor Mark. God, I just gave myself so much work. Like Chris Evans is the bad guy, right? And he's been Captain America for so long. He's been like, pretty much only good guys with the exception of Scott Pilgrim, but like whatever, that you don't expect it. You don't expect Chris Evans to be the bad guy.
Just like the line in the movie where what is his name? Not Donald Plummer. Who's the old guy? It's last name Plummer, isn't it? I don't know. The old guy that gets murdered. He in the very beginning of the movie says he's talking about his son Ransom, and he's like, I wish that my own son was more like me. He can't even tell the difference between a real knife and a prop knife.
Yes, and then like at the end he gets stabbed with the prop knife or whatever.
Yeah, that's fun. I like movies like that. Rian Johnson's a clever filmmaker. It just sucks that he made Star Wars. He should have just said no.
Yeah, but I mean, like, who in their right mind would turn down the chance to direct a Star Wars movie?
Well, it's unbelievable that Kathleen Kennedy and like the Star Wars people, not really George Lucas, but the Disney's powers that be were like, okay, J.J. Abrams, that's a solid beginning. We have a setup, we have a villain, we have a hero, and then they were like, hey, Rian Johnson, some guy who's directed like 2 movies of note in his whole career, take helm of our multi-billion-dollar franchise and do whatever the fuck you want. and he just wrote a weird
in the
script.
Middle of a new trilogy.
My biggest complaint, I wish Disney would just scrap those and start over, because the biggest problem, like the number one obstacle that like made it so much unlike any other Star Wars trilogy, was that it wasn't written all together.
Yeah, no, there was no cohesion.
Yeah, like one movie, and then they forced him to break it down. The prequels were all like thought up and planned out at like together when he started making them. He even gave them like an outline of where he wanted the sequel trilogy to go. All 3 movies, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna do it one by one.
Well, there was even the leaks of George Lucas's original ideas, and not all of them sounded great, but some of them sounded much better than what we got.
I think
he wanted Darth Maul to come back.
Yeah,
Maul was supposed to be the main antagonist in Lucas's sequel trilogy.
Honestly,
and they gave him his whole Clone Wars and his Rebels arc.
Might be unpopular opinion. I don't hate that idea.
I don't hate that idea. I like the idea too that like the idea that after the Republic like crumbled after the prequels, there was supposed to be a sequence that took place on Coruscant, and it was just supposed to be, I don't think it would have been Rey, but whatever the main character was supposed to be going around Coruscant, and it's like decayed and all destroyed because it was abandoned when the Empire took over. And I'm like, that sounds awesome. That sounds really cool. And then there was like a Sith cult or something, like this ancient Sith cult, and I was like, hey, these all sound like Star Wars-y ideas. They're not bad. But the idea of having no main villain and just digging Palpatine literally out of his grave to bring him back for one movie.
Somehow Palpatine's alive.
Yeah, they fly now.
Powers of the dark.
They fly now.
I also heard that like the original like sequel trilogy that he had planned was supposed to be like all about Leia. So like the trilogy would be like the prequels were about Anakin the father, and then the son, and then it would be the daughter. and it would have been like they all would have been cohesive.
It's like poetry; it rhymes.
Yeah, and like
I see you're also a Screen Crush viewer.
Yeah.
It also sounds like it sounds like it could have been so much better, but because they waited so long to make them, they just couldn't do it with Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, Carrie Fisher was just rest in peace. She was just she was too old. They had waited too long. Same with another franchise that was kind of plagued by this. Well, several franchises, but Indiana Jones, another George Lucas thing. They're bringing him back. Harrison Ford, elderly, decrepit Harrison Ford, bringing him back one more time. Though you want to hear it though, I have a theory.
Paying him a ludicrous amount of money.
Oh, for sure. He literally at this point he wants to literally die. Like not metaphorically, not his character. Harrison Ford wants to die. Yep. He's like, I'm done with it. Fuck these nerds. Fuck Star Wars. But I saw the set photos. I was looking at on IMDb. There's a bunch of set photos for the new Indiana Jones. There's no title for it yet. It's just called Indiana Jones 5. But I have a theory, and I think they're waiting on purpose. I think sometime soon we're going to get a trailer for Indiana Jones 5, and there's going to be a big reveal. And my big reveal is that they have casted a young Indiana Jones. There is a young Indiana Jones replacement actor. He exists. Here's my reason why. There are set photos of Indiana Jones 5 of a castle that has Nazi flags all over it. The Nazis are not around in 1960s America with old Indiana Jones. This has to be flashback or prequel, and they have to have a young Indy for that. So I'm assuming
they're just gonna make it like a bookend, aren't they? It's gonna be like Indiana Jones, like on his deathbed, like recounting his greatest adventure or whatever, and he's gonna be like, "Remember this one time in Germany?"
Yeah.
And then it like transitions back, and it's the whole movie plays out, and then
I think it's gonna be it's gonna be parallel stories because there's photos of Harrison Ford doing action scenes. Like there's like this parade and like this victory parade for World War II, and he's on a motorcycle, he's doing crazy shit. So I think it's gonna be parallel storylines of like in the 30s when I was a young man, I tried to stop like a Nazi plot, and then in the 60s, the Russians or insert bad guy picks up the plot and keeps doing evil things because Mads Mikkelsen is the bad guy in it.
How funny would it be if they got the guy who played young Han Solo in Solo to be
young Indiana Jones?
It looks nothing like Harrison Ford.
That's not a terrible casting, honestly. He's did
not
okay.
Terrible.
Yeah, he did okay.
He acted like Han Solo well. He just didn't look like it at all, and that's like what pulled me out of it. But I do like Mark's idea that it's like Indiana Jones's greatest hits, but it's a tale that the audience has never fucking heard of.
Yeah, right. Well, they did that for the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, that TV show that was on in the 90s. There was 3 Indiana Joneses. There was young Indiana Jones, who was like the main character of the show. And then there was like 50s, 60s Indiana Jones, who was Harrison Ford. And this was when he was like in the 90s. So he was like in his late 50s. And he was like in Wisconsin, because that's where he lived, or Wyoming or something like that, and he was getting in many adventures. There was an episode where he helped a Native American man escape like a lynching or something, and then like he was all this stuff, and he's doing this stuff. He's still a hero even though he's an old man. And then there was elderly Indiana Jones, who was literally like 90 years old in the TV show, and he literally just like scared children. and apparently
he just runs out on the lawn with the whip. Get off the fucking lawn!
Apparently at some point too,
he whip at these kids.
Apparently at some point too, he loses an eye because he had an eye patch. So apparently at some point in Indiana Jones's life, he loses an eyeball.
I don't know how to respond to that information. If I'm being honest.
And that's like George Lucas approved. Like he wrote those stories.
Indiana Jones lore than I thought there was, because like for such a beloved franchise, it's really hit or miss. There's like 2 decent. There's like Raiders of the Lost Ark, fantastic, and then there's like a decent one, and then the rest are all shit.
The one with the one with his dad, where they're finding the Holy Grail. That one's good.
That one's fun.
Sean Connery.
Yeah, Sean Connery. The Crystal Skull is kind of garbage.
That one's rough. Yeah, that one's rough.
And Temple of Doom is like all over the place.
Well, Temple of Doom is like George Lucas and Steven Spielberg apparently like were going through a phase, and they didn't want to make another like kid-friendly movie. Not that Raiders of the Lost Ark is that kid-friendly. People are getting murdered in that movie, but
Dude's face melts off.
Yeah, but apparently they were just in a bad mood. They've said this in interviews. They were like, I don't know, we were just in a bad mood writing the screenplay, so they just made it really dark, child slavery and sacrifices and like a cult of demons. And it's interesting because it's like Indiana Jones is always the one on top. He always has a leg up on everybody else. But in Temple of Doom, they get the leg up on him, and his sidekicks have to save him. And I'm like, that's an interesting twist to the concept, but it's not amazing. It's not great. It also has it also has the James Bond cold open, which is kind of cool, where they just like he's just doing spy shit in China.
I feel like it would have been better if it wasn't like the direct sequel to Raiders. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I think like that's what really throws the rhythm of it off.
And also, Rudy, whatever that girl's name is in the second movie. Why did they intentionally make her incredibly annoying?
Isn't her name Marion, or am I like
Marion Crane is the first movie.
Oh, okay.
First and fourth, I guess she does come back in the fourth one.
David, I did not know you were such like an Indiana Jones encyclopedia.
Willie. Her name's Willie.
Like, there's a lot of lore I'm learning here today.
No, Indiana Jones is fucking tight.
Wait, Dan Aykroyd was in Temple of Doom?
A cameo. It was just cameo. Yeah. He shows up. He's in the opening scene in China, and he's like just a guy in the street. And also George Lucas and Steven Spielberg are dressed like priests, and you can see them.
I was almost expecting you to like know the time code of when Dan Aykroyd shows up.
It's in the first half hour because it's in the James Bond opening. You can tell though, because obviously Steven Spielberg, he was asked actually once to make a James Bond movie, and he said no. Steven Spielberg, Lionsgate approached him and they were like, hey, you should make a James Bond movie. We think you'd be good at it. And he said no out of respect for the character, because he was like, I think this should be English people. English people and English actors should be making James Bond, which is funny because they've abandoned that since. Like a South American man directed two James Bond movies, so nobody cares. But James Bond has stayed a British man, which I think it should be a British man. I don't care what race he is or anything like that. I'm not weird, but I think it should be a British man.
I think Idris Elba could have been great.
Idris Elba. I know Tom Hardy is apparently rumored. Tom Hardy might be a little too rough.
Hardy's too beefy.
Tom Hardy says that he doesn't want to play hero characters. His whole thing is he only wants to play like villains.
Heroes are anti-heroes, yeah.
Yeah, because he was like, heroes are just like not fun.
Which is
being a villain is way more fun.
But you could argue that James Bond is an anti-hero. Because he's not
kill a lot of people,
and he's also like misguided and like an alcoholic and kind of weird.
You could make the argument. Well, it's like the same thing with him as Alfie in Peaky Blinders. You could make the argument that he was an anti-hero or anything like that, but it's just like, the mobster gets off on murdering people, and then he's like a priest,
and he's also like an intense racist.
Oh yeah.
Like every scene with him, he's just calling out the people he's yelling at, and he's like, "You're Italian. I hate
you." He's like, "Well, you're Italian, ain't it, mate?" And he's like, "Nah, we're American." It's like, "All right, well, that's another grand for being a cunt."
Yeah.
He's like,
I love him in that. He's like such a small role in that series, but he's really good.
Have you got through the last season of it?
I have not. No.
It's fucking good. Where did you stop? Like, what season did you end up on?
Season 4, right? Because 5's the newest one, right?
Season 6 is the newest one.
Oh, I might be 2 seasons behind then.
Yeah, 5 was the last one. 6 came out recently.
Because unless I'm misremembering, I think the last thing I saw is that the prime minister like spared Thomas Shelby's life. They were about to kill him, and then they were like,
"Yeah,
we spare you."
You're still a little bit behind.
Okay, yeah, because I remember that.
But yeah, it's like he just keeps showing up, and he went from like a real small like side character to like he's kind of important.
I hear that he essentially is like the main antagonist at one point. Like he becomes like essentially the antagonist to Thomas.
Yeah, at one point he does, and then it's more of like a working relationship for the two. And it's like at some point it crosses that threshold of just like they don't like each other to like they have a mutual respect.
What do you guys feel about the Sigma grind set shit that like Thomas Shelby's used in all those like edits of like cool guys? Like cool guys doing
it's so fucking stupid.
Like if you look up Thomas Shelby, I bet in Google Images you'll find a couple memes of him being like man rule number 40.
Yeah.
Never let a woman talk back to you.
Oh, I've definitely seen this specific image in like, yeah.
It's so fucking stupid. Well, they just took like it's a dark like early 1900s like mobster, and he's like the face for these fucking assholes.
It's so funny that every time like a cool character comes out, like a cool character with a very complicated like ethos, he always just gets co-opted by douche bros.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, he's like a fucking they're a new personality type for these assholes. Yeah, it's like it's the same shit with the Joker.
Yeah, step aside Ryan Gosling from Drive.
Yeah.
Here comes Thomas Shelby. It's his time.
Yep.
Everybody just likes those movies where like I don't know, it's like when a character is like he has to be violent. That's like a qualifier. It has to be a violent character, and they have to be like badass.
I hate women.
Yeah, they have to be like a badass. Like I know Tony Soprano used to be that, but that's a bit outdated now. But Tony Soprano used to be like the cool guy. Oh, Tony Soprano's so cool, and I'm like, no, he's like a terrible, terrible person.
Yeah. It was a Joaquin Phoenix whenever Joker came out.
Yes, Joker.
It was like why? For what
I'm
reason?
also glad that
he's a psychopath.
Todd Phillips has decided to just ruin that franchise. Hopefully,
they're making a musical.
Yeah, I heard apparently they're talking about casting Lady Gaga as Harley
Quinn. Yeah. Well, the title is
terrible idea.
Folie
à deux, which is a French term for a mental illness that affects more than one person the exact same way. So people
are Fall Out Boy album.
So people are assuming that it could be a Harley Quinn reference, which I don't think so, because Harley Quinn is not the same as the Joker. She's like dependent on him. But what people are thinking is that
Willem Dafoe is going to be a second Joker.
Well, Willem Dafoe said he was interested in the role, but that makes sense. Just that, like the idea of a copycat killer or something, like the Joker exists and he's in jail or he's in Arkham Asylum or whatever, and then there's a copycat killer who calls himself the Joker.
I thought that was like the whole like what the ending was revealing, that like this guy wasn't actually the Joker, but like he was the first guy to do Joker shit, and then the Joker just
I've heard that fan theory that like Heath Ledger was like a kid in this timeline and he got inspired by Joaquin Phoenix, and I'm like that's a
little something.
Probably not.
They're like very different characters too.
Also, I never want Batman 2022 to cross over with Joker. Never.
No.
That would be a terrible crossover because they're both.
It wouldn't make sense because Joker is set in like the 70s.
Yeah, it's like the 70s.
Kid.
Yeah, Bruce Wayne.
It's a different Alfred.
It's a different Alfred, and according to the timeline, Bruce Wayne would have been like his parents were killed in like 2008. So this would have been way too early. It was
like 2001 because I saw something a bunch of people making jokes that like they could have been leaving Shrek when they were killed.
Yeah, it was something like that because he's like it's supposed to be modern day. It's supposed to be 2022 and or 2021 or whatever, and he's supposed to be like 27 or 28 or something like that. He's like still in his 20s, and so they're like, when he was 8, it would have been like, and they just like took 19 years ago would have been 2001 or 2002 or something like that.
So it could have been Attack of the Clones. It could have been.
It could have been Two Towers.
Yeah.
Could have been Leaving Lord of the Rings. I love the idea of Bruce Wayne watching Lord of the Rings. Just sitting there enjoying like a whimsical fantasy adventure and then beating someone near to death.
I have like no clue what DC has like planned because they're still like, are they still trying to do the universe even though they like have kind of given Zack Snyder the boot, or I heard Todd
I
Phillips
hope
was like
not.
wanting to do a universe.
Well,
I don't
because
give
like
Todd Phillips a universe. Hell no.
He
they
was
were
like, he wants
they were
to make it, like,
supposed
super-
to they were supposed to like reset the DC continuity with the Flashpoint movie.
But now Ezra Miller's an actual war
now-
criminal. He's like going nuts.
I really hope that Flashpoint movie doesn't happen, even though Flashpoint is like my favorite comic storyline.
They'll probably
that
just
DC has done.
they'll probably just do what they did to
Well, is that the Flash movie?
yeah, Flash is going to get a solo movie, and it's Flashpoint. It's Flashpoint, and like the movie's like done. I think they already like filmed it. It's just in post production.
It's
And-
been in post production for years, because I remember like when Suicide Squad came out, there was a shot of Captain Boomerang
And then you see Ezra Miller. Yeah,
it was apparently lifted from, like, they stole that scene from the Flash movie to put it in Suicide Squad.
you know what my biggest gripe I have with the DC movies is that
Aside from their quality,
well, it has
themselves too seriously, in my opinion.
well, sure, yeah, I think all of those are valid criticisms, but I think like they appear like video games. Like the CGI does not mesh with the world at all. Like when it's like a big fight scene and they're about to go like kill a bad guy, you can immediately tell when it goes to a CGI area.
yeah, I watched a video on that recently where they were like, I think someone was breaking down the difference between like DC and Marvel CGI, and like the thing that sets Marvel out like so far is the physics behind it feel a lot more grounded in like reality, whereas like
They also choose to fight in like areas of the world that are empty, so it's not that
Yeah.
hard to emulate. They're just fighting in like a field in Georgia in
Yeah.
Infinity War.
But like DC, it's like all of their CG is very much meant to like it almost reflect the comic books in a way, and it almost feels
Yeah.
very light and airy because there's not a lot of impact, like especially the like Superman Zod fight when they're like flying. With the Shazam fight specifically with like flying, it just doesn't translate because they don't show like obviously humans can't understand what it feels like to fly, and the physics of like these impacts are just all over the place. Like sometimes they can take a punch and stay there, and then other times they take like a jab and go flying 3 miles back.
Zack Snyder started the horrible trend of shaky cam, zoom in, zoom out for like action sequences, and DC kind of has kept that for a lot of their movies, where when something starts happening real crazy, the camera will like zoom in and zoom out, and it's like, this was not filmed. This is a CGI sequence. There was no camera on set. You decided to put that stupid zoom in there for what reason? What emotional value or impact has happened because you did the wacky zoom in, zoom out?
He did that in 300 too, and that's why I can't take that movie seriously either. It's because it's like so over the top, trying to look cool.
At least that movie has like the style is cohesive. The whole
It is
movie looks
faster
like
than
that.
the style, yeah. But like that, there's that famous shot in 300 where it's like zooming in and out that everyone
Yeah.
praises, and I don't like it. Like
Well, yeah, in like 2006 when it came out, that was pretty epic, but
yeah.
it's a little different now. Is there any? Well, hold on. What else have we got going on? You got a wheel of topics?
We do have
Mark?
the wheel of
Do
topics.
you want to do the wheel?
I think it's
We've
time
got
to
the
spin
wheel.
the wheel.
I feel like we've
Okay,
spent.
let me get my wheel.
these.
Mark, spin that wheel.
Here, stall for me for like 2 seconds.
Come on down.
Here, wait. We can keep the Kenobi just finished. Have we all seen it?
I saw
Oh my
the
God.
big
Oh
scene.
my god, yes.
Oh my god.
I think that show is cheap and weird, and the action is corny as shit. But I think the Kenobi versus Vader stuff is really high quality.
Solid.
Oh
yeah.
my God.
I liked Moist Critical, Charlie. His review of it was like there's 4 lackluster episodes, 1 great episode, and then a pretty good finale.
Yeah, and I do like the. I like that they're trying. Here's what they already ruined it though, because they already confirmed that a season 2 is going to happen. And
Oh, really?
for fuck's sake, what the fuck is Obi-Wan
Yeah.
Kenobi doing?
Hiding
Yeah.
more.
Well, yeah, it's in 9 years he's supposed to be Alec Guinness in A New Hope, and apparently he's going to go on a whole host of adventures, fighting people, going to different planets. He's not hiding at all. They know exactly where he is.
Yeah. Honestly,
Yeah.
I'm for it if it means Cal Kestis finally shows up in live action. That was my.
I think the probably what they're gonna do for season 2, almost assuredly, is because Darth Maul was cast and in season 1 of Kenobi, and then they cut his storyline because they wanted to focus on Vader more. So season 2 is almost assuredly going to be Darth Maul.
I hope we get that live action duel that they had in Rebels.
Which is so cool.
that
That Rebels fight where it literally lasts like 30 seconds, and then he's
that
just
fight
like,
was perfect.
and he literally just thanks him for killing him. He's like, you did it. Our feud is finally over.
Please.
We can just
Thank you.
hey, look at this good
Let's
old
spin that wheel. I've got all of our names on the wheel, and I have just spun it. And
Ryan wins.
Ryan,
Hell yeah!
Ryan's the winner.
Sorry, my dog opened my door. I had to close it.
No,
Hell
you're good.
Okay, so
It's all you, brother.
I have a game prepared. So there's a creator I watch, and she recently got banned on Twitch for reading smut, and so in spite that she's made her entire persona about this. And
Very nice.
It led me to find a
Oh,
fan fiction website
Dear
called,
God.
Archive of Our Own, and I was scrolling through it, and I thought the tags and the titles were the funniest fucking things. So I made a game for the podcast.
Okay.
Legit, Ryan, I used to, with friends of mine, hop in a Discord call and read smut because it was hilarious. We'd read Sonic the Hedgehog fan fictions and stuff.
Some of these, well, the thing that I love about this website is that the creators can enter in their own tags, and so you get the wildest way to tag your fucking stories. And so the game is, I'm gonna tell you the title and some of the tags, and I want you to guess the IP that it is a fan fiction of.
It's like a
my
famous
God.
IP.
Yeah, they're all
Okay.
famous IPs. I didn't.
Oh,
I chose.
fuck.
Yeah. So the
Supernatural. Supernatural is my first guess.
first. Okay. Well, I need to read the first prompt.
Okay. Thought I'd get lucky.
It's called Accelerate, and the tags are car sex, nipple
Oh my
piercing,
God.
I got it.
sexual tension, porn without plot. This is the next tag. Stop saying you expected plot, and then this is another tag because there is no fucking plot. And then the next tag is porn without fucking plot, no plot.
Hey, Joe, I think I know it too. You go first, and I'll tell you if I concur.
You said accelerate, and the first thing that came into my head was cars. That is the first thing that came into my head.
It is also
That's
what I thought.
we
Of.
got.
understandable. Mark, you want to give your guess?
Just to be a
Assuming we got
dissenting
cars.
opinion, I'm going to say Fast and the Furious.
Okay.
That's a good
Because
one too.
I do think it's Cars, but just in case we're all wrong, just so I can maybe score a point here, I'm gonna say Fast and Furious.
It's gonna end up being like
What-
fucking Turbo.
What's throwing me off though is the nipple piercings.
Yeah, that one.
That's not right.
Yeah, well, you're all wrong. It's Minecraft YouTubers.
No way. Like what? Like
Of
what era?
course.
Like Dream.
Of course.
It was released in 2021,
So definitely Dream. The Dream Team
I
or
didn't.
Schlatt.
A big guy.
guy. All right, the next one is called "Faking It Is for the Birds." The tags are idiots in love, birds,
Okay.
loss of virginity, self-esteem issues, kitchen sex, angst and feels, gossip, and basically everything is awkward.
And this is a bird themed pornography.
Perhaps
This is gonna be something real
pornography
stupid.
birds.
It's
I'm
gonna be
gonna go-
something that has nothing to do with.
I'm gonna go with the hit 2009. I think that's when it came out. Film Rio,
Oh, that's a good one.
Ooh, Rio's a good pick.
Digging
because
deep.
they're awkward in that. Because it's what's his name? It's Jesse Eisenberg. Is the toucan?
The king of awkward.
I feel like this is like a domestic AU of some really messed up show where they can pretend that everything's okay. So I'm gonna say Attack on Titan.
Okay, interesting.
Okay.
Because obviously
Fuck
everybody's
me.
always miserable, so all they want is just some nice cute fluff.
Some nice kitchen sex, you know. They're baking the cookies, and
I can see the gears turning in Joe's head right now. He's thinking so hard.
My one gear is on fucking overdrive, dude.
give Joe the tags and the title again. See if it jogs his memory.
All right, so the title is "Faking It Is for the Birds." The tags are idiots in love, birds, loss of virginity, self-esteem issues, kitchen sex, angst and feels, gossip. Basically everything is awkward.
I'm gonna pivot to My Hero Academia instead of Attack on Titan.
There you go. Twink sex, finally.
What was
I have my giant My Hero poster behind my bed.
Oh fuck! What was that? The one where they were detectives. It had Judy Hopps. What's that one? Zootopia. I'm going with Zootopia.
All right.
That's so smart.
I'm going with that.
If you guessed the MCU, you'd be right.
Oh,
Who is it?
Oh, of course.
I'm pretty sure it's the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
this is for the birds.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah,
That one's clever.
I love this game because like the title is never connected to the IP. It makes no sense.
They're getting too flowery with it. These fan fiction writers, they're trying to be clever.
So this next one, good luck. It's Breath Mints / Battle Scars.
Breath Mints and Battle Scars. Oh my god!
And
the tags are
Lana Del Rey album.
The tags are angst, alcoholism, blood and injury, physical abuse, and bigotry and prejudice.
Oh my god!
I'm going with My Little Pony. That is my shot.
Fluttershy is about to drop the N-word. That's not good, man.
I will say, out of all the tags, bigotry and prejudice is probably what'll get you to the IP fastest, which is the most fucked up part of it.
So this is a bigoted IP, or is this an IP with people of color in it?
There's there's a lot of themes of bigotry and prejudice in this IP.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go. What's the title one more time? Breath Mints and Battle Scars.
Breath Mints and Battle Scars.
I'm gonna go. What's that show called? The Hulu show about women being like forced to be like subservient. I'm gonna go Handmaid's Tale.
Okay.
Am I allowed to ask what genre of IP this is? Like, is this a video game? Is this a TV show?
Yeah. Well, so David,
I have a guess.
It is a film franchise.
Okay, so it's movies, not TV. Okay.
Ooh, I may have to switch up.
And I was gonna say this is Detective Hank and Connor from Detroit Become Human.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's what I was going with.
So this is a film franchise.
Yeah.
With
Lord of the Rings.
Bigotry?
That's a good.
I'm going Lord of the Rings.
I'm gonna go the Quentin Tarantino movieverse. So
that's a good one. I was thinking Django Unchained.
That is strong. Yeah.
Oh my god, Django Unchained smut. What is?
Yeah, Calvin Candy.
Oh my
god. And Django.
Leo DiCaprio and Samuel Jackson.
Oh my god!
Instead of rubbing the blood on Kerry Washington's face, he rubs it all over Jamie Foxx.
Yes.
I'm gonna say the Despicable Me franchise.
Oh no, racism, eh?
Wow.
Yeah, those minions don't like each other.
No, specifically, they don't like other people.
There's a real divide between the one-eyed minions and the two-eyed minions.
Yes. Yeah. Some of them get normal names, and the other ones just have like numbers associated with them. It's real fucked up.
So the IP for this one is Harry Potter.
Oh,
because
I hate that I can see it.
Yeah. Well, I learned this in high school, and people like some of my friends got mad at me because they were Slytherins, but Slytherin is just an allegory for like the Nazis in World War II.
Well, yeah, pretty much every famous property is Nazi allegory.
They don't like they don't like muggles and call like
Mudbloods.
Mudbloods, which I'm pretty sure is a slur in real life.
It is. Yes, it is.
Yeah. And Slytherin is like pretty much just
also like the Harry Potter novels themselves have a lot of like racial weird stuff in it, like the goblin bankers and like all sorts of weird stuff.
Yeah.
Who knew J.K. Rowling could be such a terrible person?
Yeah,
Who could have seen this coming? Who knew?
Blindsided.
She's just gonna keep making billions.
All right, so the next one is called Hallowed. Okay, and the tags are mild power dynamics, caretaking. This is soft garbage with no plot. Praise kink. Tons of smut though. Porn with feelings.
That's called
so this
Hallowed.
is like the opposite of Accelerate, where porn with no plot.
Okay,
No,
so
it's called Hallowed, and if like you want to,
can we get genre again? Can we get
it's a TV show?
Okay, Supernatural. This has to be Supernatural.
prop? Yeah, that's actually pretty good. Supernatural.
Oh wait, there's more tags. I forgot. I misread it. Okay. So there was porn with feelings, and then the next tag is potentially excessive mid-coital check-ins, and then the last tag.
Use me.
The last tag is we're all still full of feelings.
Yeah,
I love
it's Supernatural.
Can I make a quick sidebar about people like this? People that write stuff like this. You just want to write pornography, and you want it to be like you have some kinks, and you like some fictional characters, and you want to see them do the nasty. Drop the quirky, like hee-haw, we're all just cool, fun people. Like, just write porn, dude.
Just let them fuck.
Just own it.
Yeah. They're always just like, we're just full of feelings and love out here. But anyway, that's when he inserted it as deep as he could. And it's like, brother, just go for it. Just go.
I really hope my mom doesn't listen to this episode.
I hope she does. Okay. Were there any more tags?
I say Supernatural.
No, those were we're all still full of feelings is the last tag. And
mid-coital excessive check-ins. That's okay. So it's a
excessive mid-coital check-ins. So there's a lot of air between these two characters.
I have a second guess, but I'll wait if nobody says it.
Supernatural's a really solid one because there's several power dynamics in that show that people hypersexualize. I'm going Doctor Who.
Oh,
I'm going back to My Little Pony. I'm sidebarring back. I think I called it too early. Oh yeah, no, I'm all in.
All right, Mark, what was your second guess?
My second guess is Good Omens.
It
could fucking be Degrassi.
It's Avatar: The Last Airbender.
No,
what?
I'm pretty sure
kids.
I'm pretty sure it's Annie's Go. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Don't write two male characters that have a friendship in a TV show. Teenage white women are going to ruin it.
This was released in 2020, so this was definitely someone's quarantine project.
Oh yeah.
They've been fucking simmering on this.
They were sitting in their room, Jackin and Jill, and just waiting, thinking about it, formulating it.
But you know what? No one's taken the step. I'm going to. God damn it!
The longest piece of fiction in human history used to be a Super Smash Bros. Brawl fan fiction. It has now since been overtaken by The Loud House fan fiction.
Oh no! Aren't they all siblings? That's
siblings, and they're all children.
It's not smut. It's just like
it's just fan fiction.
Oh, okay.
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 I do feel bad for people who write like wholesome fan fiction because it will immediately get lumped in with the horny ones.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Like I remember reading one that was actually really good, and I thought like Harry Potter should like consider making it canon. And it was like about like the Weasley family, but specifically Fred and George. And it had a lot of like really cool stuff about like their relationship, and it fleshed out like that one of them dies at the end of the series, and it kind of like his emotional impact of like having to live without his brother. And it was actually really, really good. And I was like, damn, they should make this canon. And obviously they won't.
Right. All right. So the next one is called The Book of Love. And these tags, there were like at least 30 tags on this one. So I just kind of picked the best ones. Hella buildup, loosely plays off the canon timeline, car sex, kind of. They're not actually in the car, but I guess it counts. Suicide attempt, mental breakdowns.
What?
Yeah. So the tags, these were all sequential with each other. Suicide attempt, then mental breakdowns, then yeah, about that. Then the next tag is dark themes, multiple orgasms, angst with a happy ending.
I hope so. I hope everybody lives happily ever after at the end of that story.
I am so confident that you won't guess this, that it isn't. I will tell you it is an animated TV series.
Animated TV series, and you think we won't get it? I'm going Lego Ninjago.
Oh, so base.
A timeless classic.
I'm going Steven Universe.
I think that's too down middle. People like famously ship that. That's way too down middle.
I'm going regular show.
Okay, interesting.
Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky are like shooting stars?
It's gonna be like fucking Bionicles or some stupid shit.
It's South Park.
Oh my god.
They're kids. They're kids.
Oh
They're kids.
So South Park had a running gag in seasons that like fans of the show were making like fan art and shipping these two characters, Craig and Tweek. And so they felt so pressured by the town around them making fan art that they got together, even though neither of them are gay or interested in each other. And so the Book of Love is the way it loosely follows the canon timeline is it's about them actually finding out they have feelings for each other.
I like how they're trying to continue this ship, even though canonically Matt and Trey Parker have essentially spat in the face of it and been like, "You're wrong."
Yeah. Well, that was all the. I only got 5. That was all of them.
That was a fucking roller coaster.
Right.
I would love to do this again.
That has to be a reoccurring segment. Every time you're on.
I feel like I need to take a shower.
Thing.
I
feel dirty.
I found it and I was like, this is so insane. Like, I feel like I have to share this with someone. Because it was specifically the tags that, like, I found so hilarious because anyone can make whatever tag they want.
That's so funny.
They can type in random shit like, yeah, about that. Like its own tag. Like, people are going to search for that tag.
Yeah, the about that tag. It's kind of like how like tags were used in like Tumblr, where people would just like essentially write a secondary post, but in their tags.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. Do we want to spin the wheel again, or do we want to call that here?
How far are we in? What's the time at?
It's actually, it's been like an hour 10.
I think that's cool. I think we can call it there. Hour 10. That's a solid little episode. Ends on a high note.
We got through all
that. Arguably.
Yeah.
Debatable high note about fan fiction, but...
All right, boys. I think we're done.
You guys don't need to hear about all our back-end stuff. Joe, you brought us in. You want to take us out?
All right, everybody. Appreciate you guys coming in, dropping in for the boys, talking in for episode 3. Everybody, we'll see who we've got coming in next time. Appreciate everybody coming in. Mark,
it might be
Ryan.
I think it might be an all ladies episode next week. I think they were talking about that. So you might get the boys and then the ladies. That's epic.
We're spreading it all out. We've got options.
Follow us on Instagram, cs.got.degrees, I think. Subscribe to the YouTube. Follow us on Spotify. Follow us on Anchor. Follow me on Twitter at BurgermanMark. Thanks, everybody.
I love how you just plug your own.
Yeah,
he deserves it. He's allowed.
Just cut it before anyone else can plug their social media.
And goodbye. Goodbye, everybody.
See you, everybody.
Bye. See ya.
Now fuck off, Craig.
How do I get Craig to stop?
You just stop recording.